his discussion with the stuff.
He's one of the nicest kids. Time.
All set? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, we're going to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So would everybody please rise? And Councilman Shannon, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just to take a moment of silence to remember all our service members who are fighting for our freedom domestically and abroad, and those who are not here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Today's date is Wednesday, June 9th, 2021. And for the record, all Town Board members are present with the exception of Councilwoman McDonough, who wasn't feeling well tonight and could not join us. At 6 p.m., the Town Board met in executive session to discuss three items. The first item was with Police Chief Anthony Hoffman. The Town Board interviewed a candidate for to join the Carmel PD. The second item was personnel police retirement incentive. We discussed this is the incentive that was offered last year, and 4 of our officers had taken that retirement incentive and retired from the PD, and we have a officer this year who can retire from the PD, and the board discussed offering this officer the retirement incentive. And the third item was PBA negotiations. Councilman Borelli and Councilman Channel and our Labor Council, Rob Giudotti, and the rest of the board discussed the PBA contract negotiations. So we're moving forward with that. There's some items that need to be worked on and cleaned up a little bit, but I think we're getting close to having an agreement with the Town of Carmel PBA for a new collective bargaining agreement. So Mike and Bob are going to continue to work on that, as our Labor Council, Rob Giudotti, is going to assist them as they move forward with that. But we are close with that union. So tonight's meeting is a Town Board work session, and we have 16 items that we're going to be discussing tonight in the work session. There's a couple of items here that we're probably going to act on when we get to that item on the agenda, and the board will probably move to approve that particular item by a motion, a second, and a roll call vote. So we'll get to that as we move forward with the agenda. One thing I wanted to do before we get started tonight, I want to speak a little bit about last Wednesday's Town Board meeting. It was, to be quite honest with you, it was disgusting. It was a circus, and I, for one, was not pleased at all about the conduct and behavior of some of the residents that were here, and maybe perhaps some of the board members as well, including myself. So you got to own what you do, and I'm telling everyone tonight, I'm going to make it perfectly clear, and I'm not going to deviate from this. I chair these meetings, and I have the authority to remove somebody from this meeting room if I feel it's necessary. If they're disruptive to this meeting, and their conduct continues after being told to stop, they're going to be asked to be removed. And if they're not willing to remove themselves, we'll have them removed by the Carmel PD. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I'm just not. I received many calls from people, messages from people, and it was an embarrassment. It's just not something that I would think I'm going to say it's not going to happen again as long as I'm here, and it should not have happened. But I just want to read this off. I did prepare this during the week, and I just want to make sure everybody understands, what we do here. This is government business. This is town-related government, municipal business. This is not a political forum, and it should never, ever be a political forum. So I'm just going to read this. Bear with me. Before we start the business meeting tonight, I want to say a few words about order and decorum. These weekly meetings of the Town Board have a singular purpose: to conduct the business of the Town of Carmel, period. That's our sole purpose. At the conclusion of the board meeting, I always provide an opportunity for the public to speak on issues related to town business as well. That always been the case in my tenure as supervisor, and the occasion has been extremely rare when the speaker was actually limited to 3 minutes. I'm accused of letting people speak too long. Not accused, but I'm reminded that we have a 3-minute time limit. And I let speakers go over that 3-minute time limit, probably way too often. But I do that because I feel that the person coming up to the podium needs to be heard. And it could take longer than 3 minutes, so I allow them to speak. I'm going to hold the speakers to 3 minutes. That's the rule, and I've been told that I need to stick to that rule. Rules are in place for obvious reasons. You know, we can't have somebody going up and speaking for 5, 10, 15 minutes at a clip. They're going to be held to 3 minutes. Or limited the subject matter of the discussion as long as it had some relation to the town and its residents. Last week, the meeting became political forum. It was a political forum in which order and decorum took a back seat. Clearly took a back seat. It was in the back of the truck. Going forward, the public comments will relate to town business matters only. All attendees will maintain order. That includes the town board. Respect for the board members will be shown and speak only when recognized by the chair while at the podium. All speakers will refrain from personal attacks against any other board members or any other persons in the meeting room. Any vulgarity, any obscenities that are stated will not be tolerated either. We're not going to go up to the podium and use obscenities in this meeting room. The person who is using the obscenities is going to be told to sit down. If the person refuses to, after being asked to sit down, they're going to be asked to leave the meeting room. I will close this meeting, and I have the authority under New York State to close a meeting and adjourn a meeting without a second, without a motion or a second or a vote. The chair of the meeting can do that. I will do that if necessary. I hope that never is the case where I have to take that action to adjourn a meeting, but I will absolutely adjourn a meeting if necessary. If people are being disruptive and that they're creating a disturbance in this meeting room, the meeting's going to be adjourned. And that's it, period. I don't have anything further to say on that. Just that type of behavior and conduct or decorum will not continue in this meeting room as long as I'm here. I hope that's clear to everyone because it was an embarrassment last week and it shouldn't have went on. I probably let it go on a little bit too long, and I apologize for that. But that's not going to occur anymore in this meeting room while we're conducting town-related matter business, okay? So I hope everybody understands that. Does the town board have any comments that they want to piggyback with on that? You go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Listen, I agree. I sat here in utter disbelief, and the horse was out of the barn at that point, so there's nothing for me to say. But the fact of the matter is, you know, somebody mentioned that, you know, there's embarrassing comments or stories about our town. Well, it's partly because of the actions that are allowed to take place at a town board meeting. Listen, we all disagree. We can disagree, but we can be, you know, respectful to each other at a minimum, and we have to continue to be professionals, and that's what we have to do on this side of the dais and on the other side of the dais as well. You know, that's it. That's it. Just we got to be professional. We got to treat each other with respect. And we can disagree, and that's fine. We're allowed to disagree. You know, we're not going to spend time up here correcting someone who mispronounced somebody's name 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. If we stopped at every meeting to stop someone or correct someone who mispronounced somebody's name, we'd be stopping a lot of times. And most of the names are pretty much, you know, Italian names that are always misstated. So, but regardless of the fact, you know, let's be respectful of each other. Let's continue to be professional, and hopefully one day people will say, oh, the town board at Carmel, that's boring to watch. Let's not watch that. Let's watch another town board because they're more exciting. No, I don't want to hear. And listen, we're in a campaign season. This is political. I don't want to talk too much about this. But when you enter the campaign arena and you decide to run for office, you know, you got to expect that some things are going to get thrown at you. All right? I get that. And if you can't take the heat in the political kitchen, you better get out of it quickly. Because it happens. It happens during campaign season.
Now we're starting the same stuff.
Hold on.
Now we're starting exactly what happened last week. So let's just end it right there and start the agenda, or close the meeting like you said you have the power to do.
Right. We're not
because you're using your forum now.
I know Robert's rules. We're going to end it. Whoa. Are you going to stop? I'm going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to stop. We're not going to discuss it anymore. That's it.
No, they didn't, nobody outside of you that brought it up.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm going to take the defense on
Wow.
that for anybody that's in this audience. If you want to start the meeting, read the agenda down, or I'll leave too.
We're starting the meeting, Mike.
Let's start it.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda is a review of town board minutes of May 19th, 2021. Is everybody good with the minutes of May 19th, 2021?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. First item is Police Chief Anthony Hoffman. Consider request to authorize tuition reimbursement, P.O. Creco, for $1,304.30. I respectfully request that the town board grant approval for police officer Sandy Creco's college tuition reimbursement. This request includes payment for 8 credits taken at SUNY Empire College. The total amount of tuition for this request is $2,608.60, of which $1,304 is reimbursable as per the PBA contract. To date, P.O. Creco has earned roughly 103 college credits towards bachelor's degree in political-related field of study. Police-related field of study. P.O. Creco will continue his studies with the ultimate goal of achieving his Bachelor's of Science degree in sociology. Supporting the documentation from SUNY Empire State College is attached, submitted for your consideration and approval, Chief Anthony Hoffman. So his grades are attached, and this is contained within the collective bargaining agreement of the PBA. The college tuition is reimbursable for our police officers. So this is acceptable. Is there any questions, comments about this?
Congratulations on getting the A's.
Yep.
Okay, number 2, Mike Carnazza, Building and Codes Enforcer. Consider request to accept proposal for property cleanup, tax map number 76.17-1-28. This is a memo from Mike Carnazza. Please be advised, I sent out bid specifications to 4 contractors for the cleanup of Union Valley Road in Mahopac. I only received 3 bids back, copies attached. The low bidder was Certified Contracting Services, Inc. at $2,500. If possible, I would like to get the property cleaned and secured as soon as possible to minimize any further dumping on this site. So this is one of the items on the agenda that Councilman Lombardi had recommended that we act on this evening and award this to Certified Contracting Services so we can go ahead and start getting that property cleaned up and secured to prevent any future dumpings over there. So Frank, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, so this is the property that I've been working on for the last couple of months. Spoke to Mike about it. So I make a motion that we award the bid for tax map number 76.17-1-28 to the lowest responsible bidder, Certified Contracting Services, at the amount of $2,500, and contingent upon receipt of all insurance information and any other information and documentation that's required by town council. I move this as read.
Second.
Okay, so motion made by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Borelli. Can you do a roll call vote?
So you're designating me as the clerk right now?
Designating you as the clerk
Okay,
for this
so,
one.
Councilman Channel? Yes. Councilman Lombardi?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yep.
Councilman McDonough is absent. Councilman Schmidt? Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Motion carries 4-0-1.
Motion carried 4-0.
I did.
And just, that's all right. And just to let people know, the bid spec required that it be done, all work within 3 weeks of the acceptance of the bid.
I'm quite sure it'll be cleaned up within a day or 2.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's cleanup plus the movement of rocks and some other stuff. But in any event, it'll be done hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and that'll be that. One project off the books.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, so next item on the agenda, this is to consider discussion and scheduling a public hearing in regards to a proposal, the local law amending Chapter 104 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Noise. If everybody recalls, about a month or so ago, a business owner had approached me with respect to being issued a permit for amplified music at their place of business, which is in Mahopac Falls and Red Mills, and they would like to have entertainment, and whether it be by DJ or maybe somebody playing guitars outside for their outdoor dining area. And our current noise ordinance, Chapter 104, only allows for a permit to be issued for residential and commercial businesses every 30 days. So you could apply for a noise permit or an amplified music permit, and you would be issued it, but then you couldn't apply, and that would be for a 3-day period, but then you couldn't apply for another 30 days to have that same amplified music. So given the fact that a lot of our local businesses took a tremendous amount of loss during COVID, during the COVID pandemic, when the state shut down, and the height of the pandemic where people just weren't, going out, for obvious reasons, a lot of these businesses are trying to get back on their feet. So I recommended that we amend Chapter 104 of the noise ordinance of the town of Carmel to allow businesses to apply for a noise amplification permit every 5 days as opposed to every 30 days. So the every 5 days would allow them theoretically to have entertainment every week on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Currently, they cannot do that, as the law does. The law is very specific that it's a 30-day wait period. So we're going to, my recommendation is that we amend the code to allow for our local businesses to have outdoor entertainment every 5 days. They can apply for a new permit for amplified music to entertain their guests. So I think this is good that we do this. It'll help our local businesses recover from the pandemic, and it'll allow them to have entertainment really every week. So the residential code is not going to change. The residential section of the law will remain 30 days. That's not going to change, but the commercial zoning districts would be permitted to have amplified music. So I think this is something that we should do. I spoke about this a month ago, and I recommend that we have the public hearing and we amend the ordinance to reflect this. Greg, was there anything that you wanted to add?
I drafted it based on what the board had spoken about, I believe, in late April. I know that I spoke to the town clerk today, and she just had a couple of comments she's going to make as to the logistics of permit issuance within the law, not necessarily the standards for the issuance themselves. And said she'd have something to the board in another day or two. Process-wise is you have to have a public hearing. You could set a public hearing next week for as early as the 7th. That'll give you enough time to finalize the particulars of the law amongst yourselves and notice it, because it only needs 5 days notice if you want to go forward in that time frame. Right, but she should have some to you in the next 24 hours if you didn't receive it already. Because obviously the clerk gets all the permit applications, refers them downstairs to the PD, and there's just a couple of items that tend to come up with respect to notice or consent by a landlord if in fact property's leased or there's a tenant there. But again, I don't think it wouldn't affect the purpose you're trying to achieve one way or the other. But look at the law. If there's comments, we have some time here. Anybody can provide them to me, and we can circulate it among the board.
Yeah.
Finalize it before you go.
And the 5 days would remain in effect. That would remain, and 100, I think you have to make notification 100 feet from the place of business to any homes or residential.
The way that it's written in the draft is 100 feet from any proposed permitted site, and giving 5 days notice to anybody within that radius. Okay, but you can change that however you're comfortable as a board, whether you want more or less in terms of radius distance or more or less in terms of notice.
Yeah.
I just kind of did it based on the discussion, but it's in draft form.
Okay. All right. Any comments or questions from the board on this?
So the only thing that's going to change is the days from 5 to 30.
Yeah.
In the
Distance,
commercial zone.
I think it's great. I think it's great that restaurants will be able to provide, live music. I don't think it would, make people patronize them more, come to town, see things. So I think it's good.
Yeah, it'll help the businesses, definitely. Mike, do you have anything?
No.
Frank? Okay, so if the board does recommend any changes to the draft of this, we have some time to do that, but I'd like to schedule a public hearing on this.
So you do that resolution next week?
Next
no matter
week,
what.
yeah.
And then you can have it for the 7th, which is 3 weeks.
Right.
And how would you handle noise complaints if there was from residents? Would that be taken into consideration? I mean, if more establishments decide to have live music,
Right.
and they're close to homes and people complain about the
Right,
music.
well, they're going to be required to notify residents within 100 feet of the place of business, of the establishment, and, or businesses as well. They have to notify businesses. So if there's any homes that are beyond the 100 feet distance and they have a complaint about noise, they would probably call it into the PD.
Okay.
And the PD would handle that appropriately, whatever that might be. So,
Okay.
I think 100 feet is adequate.
Okay.
for this. Okay, so, but the board is, you can change it. If you want to make some changes, recommended changes to it, after the public hearing, we may want to, based on the feedback from the public, we may want to tweak it a little bit too, the language in it.
Absolutely.
But, it's, right now, this is what's being proposed, but it's subject to change. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. Okay, next item on the agenda, number 4, James Gilchrist, Director of Recreation and Parks. Jimmy, consider request to authorize disposal of an old and obsolete equipment. This is car 42. It's a 2010 Ford Crown Victoria.
Sure, this is the last Crown Vic that the town had, and it was being transferred from the police department to the recreation department. And I was able to get a new title, got the license plates, and the car had an electrical fire before our acquisition. So the car was deemed junked by the highway mechanic. So we asked to remove that from the fleet, and we're in the process of acquiring a Chevy Caprice, I think it is, one of the Caprice.
It's one of the old Caprices
Yes,
from the
yep.
PD, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on that
Yeah.
one.
We talked about that. I spoke to Craig Stoffco, the mechanic, and he said that the damage to this car from the fire is just far exceeds, the use of the car, to invest that kind of money into repairing it.
Yep.
It's not worth it. It's an older car, and he recommended not fixing it.
Sure, yeah.
And the Caprice, Jim, should be available, I'm going to guess within the next 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks. Once Craig goes over the car and mechanically and says it could be released to you for use, then we'll get it over to you.
Yeah, I went up to the Department of Motor Vehicles. I was able to transfer titles and had plates within 2 weeks, which I thought was remarkable. I set up an appointment online, went up, they took care of the paperwork, and they mailed the license plates out, which was, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot longer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. Any questions on this one? From the board? All right, next one. Consider request to accept proposal for the purchase and installation of a security alarm system for Airport Park.
Sure. Yeah, I came to the board last month recommending CIA Security and also Doyle Security for the Airport Park building. One was for an alarm and a burglar alarm and fire alarm, and the other was for a video surveillance. The board asked me to look at some other prices. We have all of our, right now we have all of our parks that we have under video surveillance through CIA Securities, which transitioned into Doyle. So what I did is I used the same specifications, went out and I went out to 2 other companies, and our controller's office, Michelle in the controller's office asked, you should look at the current burglar and fire alarm system that we have over in Sycamore Park, which was Ace Security. So I did get a proposal from Ace, and they actually came out as the lowest. They were total package is around $14,000. You can see what the monthly costs are. So I'll go over the lowest one. The Ace Security system for the alarm system is $2,950 with a central station monitoring charge of $480. And what that would be is if there's any alarms that go off, I get calls throughout the evening, during the day, if there's any kind of low temperatures, break-ins, smoke detectors go off, anything like that, they'll call myself first on my cell phone, my residence, and then it goes down through the staff. So that's what you're paying for with that service. The camera service, the camera surveillance system would be $2,800, and there's no monitoring or any kind of maintenance fees for that. It's a flat fee. You're buying equipment. If there's anything that does go wrong with that equipment down the road, there would be service charges and possible equipment replacement. And the last would be the fire alarm system, which is required by New York State Fire Code, and that would be $8,250, and that has a yearly charge of $680. Currently, we have a burglar and a fire system at Sycamore Park that was installed before I came to town, probably back when the building was renovated back in the late 90s. Ace Security has maintained that. We've had items that have failed over the years. Very responsive, immediately fixed. They come in, they do the yearly maintenance. We replace the smoke detectors fire detectors. We've had issues with some failure on the burglar alarm system, with, say, rodents chewing on the wires or batteries going bad, that kind of a thing. But other than that, I would definitely recommend their great service. They've done similar buildings to the airport park building down in the Bronx. That's where he mainly does most of his work. He's a resident of Mayapack. That's where his company is located. And he also does local residents up here. So that would be my recommendation. And obviously, you can look at the difference in price. When I came to you with Doyle and CIA, they were total package of $26,371, and this would be $14,000.
That's some difference, Jimmy.
Yes, yep.
All right, this is the company that we have basically throughout the town, securing almost everything we own, and it's more than 50% more than the lowest bidder
That's
when
correct.
we went out to bid.
Yes, yep.
So what does that say about any other one that comes up to contract time?
Any one of what?
Any one of the current CIA securities that come up for renewal?
Okay,
We're not rubber stamping a renewal, we're going out to bid.
yep.
Because if we rubber stamped this 3 weeks ago, it would have been $12,000 more just for that one building.
Well, the CIA, the video surveillance that we have in town parks, we purchase the equipment, and what we have is we have an annual maintenance charge for each one of the parks
Are you
to
getting the
maintain that
same thing
equipment.
for $14,000?
Are we what?
Are you getting the same thing for $14,000?
Very similar. None of these
That's
four are the same, but they're very similar.
That's all.
Yep.
Everything goes out to bid.
So now, this, we're hoping to, right now, the volunteers, we're on hold at the airport building. We have the insulator contractor. We've scheduled the work. We can't do that work until we run all the low voltage lines for the fire alarms, the smoke detectors, motion sensors, video, and then some of the video equipment.
And Jimmy, this was all in that one overrun where you asked, I think, for 300 some odd.
No, this money I have $44,000 that is in a separate line for all of our town parks. We were going to security systems in all parks, so this money is in a separate line. Has nothing to do with the airport building line.
Okay.
Yep, and I have adequate.
But
I
I'm saying
think
that increase you asked for
it is
covers
for.
it, more than covers it, you
No,
said.
the increase that I asked for was for the building out, not the video and the
Okay.
and
I
the
just want to make sure
surveillance
that
systems.
it's in there.
Yep, yeah, we're covered. This is a separate line, and again, we have about 44,000 in that. And there are, we still have some other parks that we're going to be putting in some surveillance equipment in, yeah, as we update them.
Thanks, Jim.
So I was hoping that, we can get this forward as soon as possible, maybe vote on it next week, so I could schedule some of that work.
Are you okay if we vote on it next week?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah, yep.
Yeah, to the 16th.
If you like.
Yeah, the resolution for the 16th, yep. Okay.
Yep.
We'll have a resolution for the 16th.
All right, perfect. So I'll have A-Security pencil in a installation date,
Yep.
based on after that date.
Yeah. Any other questions for Jimmy on this item?
Not on this item, but Jim, Saturday I was at the Boulder Meadow Park for, my nephew was playing in a soccer tournament, and I guess it was going on all day. And the only thing I noticed
The
was
Jamboree, you mean?
I'm sorry?
At the Jamboree,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing I noticed, there weren't enough garbage cans there. So
Okay.
anytime we have events there, let's make sure we have enough, refuse containers around.
Yes.
That we don't have, somebody from one end doesn't have to walk to the other end just to throw something out, because while I was there, I was picking up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're having the second half of that event, and Scott Krogan already asked me for some additional services.
Yeah, well, because I mentioned it to him.
Yeah, usually what we would do is, when they would always have it at McDonough Park, that was typically
Right,
where they
right, I
had it.
remember, yeah.
And they had volunteers that would have a landscape trailer, and they would have to go around, the amount of garbage that is generated, they would fill up a landscape trailer, bring it over to Sycamore, dump it in our dumpster. So usually what will be done, and then you do it at the airport also, we have a huge stockpile of garbage. You can have an additional 10 cans there, they're all going to get full, because all the families are coming with
Agreed.
the-
It gets filled because everybody's bringing, stuff
Tons
for
of
the kids
stuff
who
there,
are
yeah.
waiting around. That's fine,
Yeah.
and actually, people that I spoke to were very, very happy with the park and the entire, surrounding.
Yep.
So they should continue to have it there, but let's make sure that there's
I'll get
garbage.
some extra cans there.
There's garbage cans there, it's important.
You got it.
Okay, all right.
Anything else?
Thanks,
You
Jim.
good?
Nope, that's it.
All right, have a good evening. guys.
Thanks. You too, Jim.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you, Len.
Okay, next item on the agenda, number 6, Rich Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer. Consider request to accept proposal for engineering services, membrane filtration system upgrades, Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
Good evening, everyone. So the town, along with the New York City DEP, completed a pilot study at Sewer District 2 in 2015. And in the fall of 2015, the DEP had promised to place filters at Sewer District 2 on the list for replacement. The EFC and DEP would reach out to the town at that time and put it in as part of the capital replacement program once they're finalized. A pilot study was performed by the DEP to assist the town in replacing the existing Evoqua Siemens membrane units after the completion of the pilot study. The DEP recommended that the town add a line recently, so nothing's been done since 2015, just so the board knows. We've been asking the DEP, hey, when are you going to put these membranes in? When are you going to put these membranes in? They don't work with the EFC any longer. They're now doing work with NIWIPIC. So that was one of the delays that they had for us. And ultimately, they said, hey, town, you need to add a line to your O&M budget, which is now going back to the memo, for an engineering proposal that will, they'll work to add that line item budget. And there was a May 19, 21 email from DEP that said the engineering effort to scope the proposed projects is something that can be added to the facilities budget. To do so, they need a proposal with a time frame to complete the work, the cost for completing the scope, and as such. And they noted that timing was key because the DEP's contract to cover this kind of capital replacement calls for annual budgets by quarter, and we want to include a placeholder for any proposed work. So in order to have the cost completed prior to the end of the quarter, the engineering department solicited proposals for the reference project on May 24th. It was to provide the costs and scope and time frame to do what the DEP had asked us to do, and it is to replace those existing units. Proposals were received on June 2nd from 2 firms. Copies of the proposals are attached. Hazen at $35,000 and Arcadis at $95,000 to do the work or to do this study. We have advised the Controller's Office of the expenditure, and the New York City DEP will include this as part of the O&M budget. It is no cost to the town of Carmel. It is completely paid for by the New York City DEP. Based on the evaluation of the cost and the scope of work, we recommend the contract be awarded to Hazen as most responsive.
Next time, start with that.
I apologize. I should have started with that.
Hey, why the difference?
Big difference.
You know, I
That's like an
asked the guys at
insane-
Arcadis. They thought that they were going a little more in depth, I think, than what the scope was when I did speak to them after the fact. I didn't speak to them during it, only after. And they were going a lot more deeper than I think what was needed for what the DEP is required. So
The way I feel about
they
the city-
overread it.
The way I feel about the city of New York,
You'd rather go with number 2?
But it's just such a dramatic difference. It's kind of
I
crazy.
agree.
I just thought that they didn't want to do it, and if you make me do it, I'll charge you triple the price.
City's paying for it.
No, I know. Okay.
Okay, Bob, you have any questions on this one? No? Okay. All right, Rich. Go on to number 7. Consider request to acknowledge emergency repairs and services, Carmel Sewer District 4.
So the memorandum is being presented to the board to advise of emergency invoices submitted in payment of $10,000. In this case, it's Carmel Sewer District 4, the sand filter backwash pumps. I've been to the board for a couple of different issues with this. In this case, in April 30th, Infomark, the operator for Sewer 4, alerted the engineering department that both the sand filter submersible backwash pump in the microfiltration building were not optional. In order to remove the pumps, the existing sand and sludge in the backwash pit needed to be removed or vacuumed out. The work was deemed an emergency as the pumps backwash the sand filters and are part of the wastewater treatment process, and if not functioning, can cause a potential compliance issue, which would cause us to exceed our speedies permit. We authorized TAMS to remove sand sludge in the amount of $10,633.25. There are insufficient funds in the 21 budget. However, we are expecting revenue from the DEP once the microfiltration reconciliation is complete, which will encumber the cost for this repair. So again, I probably should have started with that one, Frank, too. Sorry. DEP's paying for it.
That's the only thing. If somebody else is paying for it, it's fine.
Let them pay for it. Okay. All right, any questions, comments on this agenda item, number 7?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Next, number 8. Rich, is consider request to authorize advertise for bids for the purchase and installation of Grist Classifier, Carmel Sewer District 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 2, advised the engineering department that the Grist Classifier at the headworks of the wastewater treatment plant needed to be replaced. Infomark requested pricing to replace the unit, and it will exceed the GML threshold of $35,000. We request authorization for this project to go out for public bid. Classifiers are also known as grit screws or grit separators or grit classifiers are used at wastewater treatment plants at headworks at the front end of the plant to help separate grits from organics in the water. Removal is needed to be done at the headwork plant to help reduce wear to the upstream pumps and mechanical equipment, so this needs to be replaced and installed.
Can we get the city of New York to pay for it?
No, unfortunately, they pay for the back end, not the front end. We got the headworks, they got the microfiltration at the back end.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments on this item? The grid classifier purchase and install?
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, Rich, go on to the next one, please. Number 9, consider request to advertise for bids for the purchase and installation of bar screen mechanism, Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
So similar to the prior one, Infomark, the operators of Carmel Sewer District 2, advised the engineering department that the bar screen mechanism at the headworks of the plant needs to be replaced. The existing screen uses brushes which are replaced every 12 months. In addition, the track that houses the brushes does not keep the brushes in place. Infomark recommended the replacement unit be a brushless type system. The pricing to replace this unit and pricing will exceed the GML threshold of $35,000. We request authorization to go out to bid for this project.
Did we go out? Was this replaced 12 months ago, Rich?
No, the internal brushes are replaced, not the unit. This is the entire unit. They're going to go with a brushless unit. Right now, because of the grit that gets in there, the whole mechanism at the headworks needs to be kind of looked at and replaced. So it's showing its age, and it just needs to be looked at. There's sufficient, well, we'll figure out if there's sufficient budget in there. We did budget for some of this work in last year's budget for Sewer District 2. So we're finally getting around to we're going to put the bids out, put the specs together, and get them out. But we did budget for some of this work.
Okay. And the respective districts, like in this case, Carmel Sewer District 2, the users of that district will pay for the cost of this?
Yes. But
And
again,
that's
we budgeted in our budget for Sewer District 2 to have that in there.
Do you know how much we budgeted for?
I think we put in probably 75 to 100,000 for a couple of different pieces of equipment
Okay.
this upcoming year. So hopefully, when we put these bids out, they come in lower, but we'll figure out.
Together.
The grid clarifier and the bar screen, no?
What I'm going to do is so Greg just asked the question if I can, so the bids and specs, I can either do them separately or I'm going to do them all at once. I think what we'll end up doing is putting them all out at once, and I think you can get a better deal for one firm or one contractor to come in, purchase, and install. You'll have them mobilize and demobilize once. They'll come in and do the work. There'll be cost savings there. So that's how we're going to do this. I come in for the clarifier about a month ago. I had those specs ready to go. I'll develop these relatively quickly, and we'll be able to let it out. We'll let it out as one.
So you want one bid authorization?
Yeah, if it's okay, Greg is asking if I wanted one bid authorization. Yes, why don't we do that? But we've already had a resolution for one in the past, so we can combine them. It was the clarifier from probably 2, 3, 4 meetings ago, Greg?
Okay, did we already authorize it?
Yes.
So but it's on again?
No, that was for the clarifier. This is for now the headwork. So you can get one contractor to come in and do it.
I just wanted to do it how it's best for you.
Think about it and let Greg know before.
No, definitely. Let's do it. Let's get it at one. I can give you the old one tomorrow, or the one that was previously approved, and you can amend next week's to include that one or whatever.
Okay.
So,
They're both headworks things, so.
Yeah.
Try and do it. Good.
All right.
Cost savings.
All right, let Greg know, Rich.
yeah,
Thank you.
Greg, you'll know. We're doing it.
Okay. All right, number 9, this consider request to advertise for bids for the purchase and installation of bar screen mechanism, Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
No, we did that one, sir.
We did that one?
The bar screen we just did.
We just did the
All
bar
right,
screen.
10,
We're
I'm
on
sorry.
sidewalk. We're on-
Consider request to advertise for bids for the sidewalk replacement in the hamlet of Carmel.
The supervisor's office received a complaint relative to the deteriorated condition of some sidewalks in the hamlet of Carmel. In response to this complaint, this department conducted a joint inspection with Supervisor Smith, and it was determined that there are sidewalk panels that are significantly deteriorated. This condition of sidewalk poses a safety concern for pedestrian traffic in the area. The scope of work would include replacement of about 1,500 square feet of sidewalk, along with necessary demolition of the existing sections. Based on the cost of our most recent bid numbers for sidewalk replacement in Carmel Sewer District 1, we estimate the work would be between $50,000 to $75,000. And based on the above, we respectfully request the authority to put this project out to bid and pursue any necessary permits from New York State DOT.
But this is not adjacent to any personal property, right?
No, I think we
It's
own
all
those,
town?
we own
all
those.
town.
It's all town
It's
adjacent
all
property?
town.
It's all town sidewalks. It's all up in the hamlet of Carmel.
Okay.
I met with the.
Adjacent to the
It's-
business fronts. for
Right, it's
sure.
right in front of the, right, the businesses, yeah. They're in bad shape. They're
Fair
really-
Street.
You know which ones they are. You know, by the diner there, by the Carmel Diner, in front of the
Fair Street,
courthouse.
over there, yep.
Yeah, they're in bad shape, so they do need to be repaired, and in this case,
Wait, the ones in front of
so-
the courthouse?
right by the courthouse, they're between the courthouse and Fair Street.
But are those, does that belong to the town or the county?
Town, town, it's all town.
Many, probably 15 or 20 years ago, there was a revitalization project that there was some federal funding to redo those sidewalks. And by the end of the project in 2008 or 2009, there was a high incidence of what's called scaling. And the town ended up keeping the retainage from that contractor off of that job. But apparently it's gotten worse over
gotten a lot worse.
the past years, and it's ours. Okay, we do need DOT permits because they're in their right of way, but we own the sidewalk.
So we still have money from the,
It was a grant funded project, so really the contractor lost his retainage, but it just went back to the grant source, Okay. I checked with Mary Ann, but I don't think there was anything within our budget.
Okay.
Okay, there was a reimbursable grant, the work got done, we got the money, we paid out the contractor, and there was litigation at the end of it. And we held about $1.8 million job, we got 5% of it, $95,000. Ended up not getting paid. But this is the problem as 10 years, 12 years down the road, it got worse.
Okay.
So, Rich, did you check with the grant writers just to see if there's any grant funding for the project?
We have not checked with them yet, no.
Maybe we can do that. Thank you.
Okay, Rich, number 11, consider request to award bid for chemical supplies to the various water and sewer districts.
So bids were received for the reference supply contract on Monday, May 10th. The bids were opened by the town clerk. A copy of the bid opening results are attached. The scope of work involves chemical supply to various town of Carmel water and sewer districts. 4 bids were tabulated as identified in the spreadsheet that was attached, and based on the results, the recommendations are as follows. The bulk of the award should be given to Surpass Chemical with the exception of sulfuric acid at Carmel Sewer Districts 2 and 4 and diatomaceous earth at Carmel Water District 2. The total annual award to Surpass would therefore be $63,426.93. Please note, it is an estimate. It's based on actual consumption, so that will vary that number. For sulfuric acids, the contract should be awarded to Coin Chemical. Coin Chemical was slightly higher than Slack on one item by $48, so we consider the amount to be de minimis, and we then offer that it be awarded to Coin for the, again, for that project for sulfuric acid. 2 contractors bid on diatomaceous earth, the low bidder being Brentag Northeast, and we recommend that the total annual award be to Brentag at the annual price of $52,975. Again, this is just an estimate based on consumption. Chemicals for the district are included as part of the annual budget, and based on the assessment, there are sufficient funds for the service. This contract ends on July 6th, so,
Okay, so we're going to need a resolution
yes.
authorizing the signing of a contract for next week. It'll be on for next week, right? The 16th? All right, it'll be on for the 16th. Any questions or comments from the board on this item regarding the chemicals for the districts? Okay. All right, Rich, go on to the next one, number 12. Consider request to award bid for cleaning services, town hall building, including police department.
So bids were received and opened by the town clerk for the reference contract on Monday, May 3rd. Bid opening results are provided in the attached. The scope of work involves cleaning services for town hall, including the police department. Bids were sent to 14 contractors, and 4 bids were received as identified in the spreadsheet attached. Of the 4 bidders, both NSI and Hudson Valley failed to provide bid bonds, which renders their bids materially defective. As such, the 2 bids were rejected, or should be rejected, as identified in the attached email from council. Based on our review, we recommend that the contract be awarded to CTE Incorporated, doing business as Reliable Cleaning, This is the company that had been in contract with this work since December of 2017 and have found their performance to be satisfactory. This award would be for 2022, 2023, 2024, with the unilateral option on the part of the town of Carmel for 2 one-year extensions, 25 and 26. The totals in the attached are based on 5 years of performance. As this work is to begin in 2022, we will provide this information to the Controller's Office on appropriate budgeting for her moving forward.
Okay. All right, and we're satisfied, Rich, at least I'm satisfied, based on their cleaning services that they perform of the town hall. They do an excellent job.
We did ask the police, and, yes, everyone seems to be, at the moment, happy with them, so we had some bad ones in the past, so.
Current company that's doing the cleaning services for the town. Mike, did you have any questions on this? Comments? No? Okay. All right, so Greg, you'll do a resolution for this one also?
I will.
Okay. All right, next, 13, consider request to authorize purchase and installation of microfiltration feed pump, Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer 2, advised the engineering department the need for a flocculation drive for the secondary stage clarifier. The mixer is needed to run the plant more efficiently during winter months. It shouldn't be a microfiltration feed pump. I apologize. The memo is mislabeled. It was for a flocculation drive for second stage clarifier. I apologize for that. The request is to retrofit a new mixer and variable frequency drive on the clarifier. They assessed rebuilding the unit. However, due to the age, it was determined that it was not cost effective and the unit may not last longer than a year. They advised the department that the flocculation drive is from DBS Manufacturing, and per the attached letter from GMH Associates, they are the sole source supplier of this unit. This department therefore considers this particular manufacturer to be a sole source. Infomark received the attached quote from GMH in the amount of $12,960.74 to complete the purchase and install the unit. The equipment that's there is about 25 years old, and the expected life expectancy of the new equipment is around 20 years old. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this work. We spoke with the controller on it. So, apologize for the misnomer of the memo. I will resubmit that to the board tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Rich. Okay. All right, any questions, comments on this item from the engineer?
No.
Okay, we're going to move on to next. Rich, thank you.
You've gotten rid of me
All right.
for now.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you.
See you in a little bit. Okay, next agenda item 14, Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, consider deletions to the active list. This is from Edward Scott. He's the corresponding secretary for the Mahopac Fire Department. Dear Ann, please make the following changes to the active membership of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, Inc. Remove the following. 53-year member passed away. His passing is a loss to the department, and his name was Richard Kurzel. The following members have had their status changed from active to exempt: Nicholas Libertori, Jerry McGuigan, and James Hecker. The following member has resigned from the department: Ryan Kick. Thank you for your assistance with this matter. So Greg, we'll need a resolution for them next week?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll be done.
All right. All right, next, number 15, this is to consider request to waive a 30-day notice of the ABC Board Alcohol Beverage Control Law in regards to the liquor license RC Pizza Restaurant LLC, DBA Europa Pizza. This is at 178 Route 52 in Carmel. This is up at the ShopRite Plaza. And they've submitted a waiver, a request for a waiver of the 30-day wait period so that the applicant can proceed quickly with submitting the change request to the New York State Liquor Authority. If you have any questions or additional information, please hesitate to contact me, Andrew O'Brien, Liquor License Consultant. So Greg and I had an opportunity to review the application, and it is complete. All questions have been asked by the applicant, and I recommend that the board approve the 30-day waiver for this particular business up in Carmel. Right. Any questions on this one? No? Okay. All right, so the last item on the agenda, number 16, Lake Mahopac Park District, consider approval and distribution of the annual newsletter. So board, you all have a copy of the annual newsletter, and it's very comprehensive. They did an excellent job putting this newsletter together for the Lake Mahopac Park District users. In this issue is a lake overview. How's the water? They talk about buoys, the latest fish study. You can access the latest fish study by going online to their website. The complete report is contained in that, on that website. Safety and enforcement, they spoke about law enforcement on the lake and the Marine Division patrols by Carmel PD. They gave us a goose update that's in here and who we are. So they spoke a little bit about, who they are, and the board members are Compton Spain, Jay Crawford, John Maxwell, Charlie Langlitz, James Maxwell, Robert Frankel, and key liaisons to the Park District are Michael Borelli, Frank Lombardi, Carmel Town Board, Sergeant Michael Bodo, Town of Carmel Police Department, and Commander Elaine Peel of the U.S. Auxiliary Coast Guard. So the newsletter is very well done, and it covers a lot of important material and information pertaining to Lake Mahopac. So they did a great job with this. Vinny, if you could just zoom in on this is just the cover of it. But there's a lot of other good information in here.
What about the fish?
So the fish study?
The fish study?
Well, they did a fish study, and the results of the fish study are available by going to the lakemahopac.org website, and it'll give you all the information pertaining to that. But the fisheries in Lake Mahopac is very healthy. There's a very largemouth bass population.
Right.
The smallmouth
I
bass.
think from 1999, it's the first time they've had 4 species in it.
Yeah, the bluegill, the largemouth bass, the brown bullhead, and the rock bass. So,
Bottom line, best fishing since '99
yeah,
is what they say.
yeah.
And they've also been very proactive with getting the police on the lake. So lakefront residents, marinas, warn your boaters. The police are out full force this year. The lake is crowded to the point where it's overcrowded, and there will be surprise police visits on weeknights, not announced, and tickets will be issued.
There were 4 summonses issued this past weekend on the lake, and there were boats that were stopped and they were checked for required Coast Guard equipment that you have to have on your vessel. A PFD for each passenger is required, personal flotation device. So the Marine Division, as Mike said, was very active over the weekend on Lake Mahopac, and they will continue to be very active and keeping people safe and the lake users safe on the lake. And that's really what our goal is, and is to everybody have fun, enjoy the lake. It's a beautiful lake, but be careful, and because it is crowded. I agree with Mike, it's extremely crowded, and there's a lot of boats on the lake, and people are enjoying themselves, but let's just be careful and have fun.
Be
Kenny,
safe.
And be safe.
In light of the fact that there's a lot of pertinent information on here that it's better to get out to the residents sooner rather than later, waiting for a resolution next week, I'm going to make a motion that we accept the newsletter of the Lake Mahopac Park District and approve its distribution, and I make that motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Yeah, I second that also.
This way, everybody should get it by July 4th. It should go out within a couple of days.
You want a roll call? Yeah, Greg, you're still designated as a clerk,
Thank you.
so go ahead and do the roll
Councilman
call.
Shannon?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilman McDonough is absent. Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried.
They did a
Thank
very
you.
nice
Just-
job
and
with
just-
it also.
Just
Very
to,
good job.
for the sake of the public, the distribution and postage and the manufacturing of the newsletter is borne by the residents of the Lake Mahopac Park District.
Charges and district expense.
Right. It's on our website. So if you want to take a look at it, if you're not in the district, you don't receive the newsletter, if you want to take a look at it, it's on our website. You can pull it up that way. Okay, so that completes the town board meeting agenda items for this evening. Is there any members of the public that would like to come up and speak on the agenda items that we covered tonight? Come on up at this time to the podium. Okay, there being none, is there any members of the public that are here that would like to address the town board on town-related matters? Must be a resident, a business owner, or a property owner to speak and address the board during the open forum portion of the meeting. Come on up at this time. Okay, there being none, we do have some announcements that I'd like to make before we go into executive session. And this is an important announcement that really pertains to the entire community. It's just not any particular zone or district. And the Town Board of the Town of Carmel will hold a special public workshop meeting on Wednesday, June 30th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the meeting rooms 1 and 2, so right in this meeting room, Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the downtown Mahopac revitalization projects. This is to include Swan Cove, municipal parking lot, and downtown Mahopac revitalization, which would include the sidewalks, the lighting, and the reconfiguration perhaps of one of the streets in downtown Mahopac to a one-way. So this is an important meeting where I encourage the residents to attend this meeting. It's going to be right here. This is where the public can weigh in on the concept drawings that the in-house staff, including the town board, reviewed over the past several weeks. The consulting firm, Insight Engineering, has completed the 3 alternative concepts of the projects for downtown Mahopac, and at this point, we're ready to bring that out to the public and ask for the public's feedback. So we want to hear from you. It will be your park, Swan Cove, the municipal parking lot will benefit the merchants in downtown Mahopac and also the users of downtown Mahopac, and certainly the revitalization of the sidewalks, the lighting, and the streets in downtown Mahopac Business District is an important topic, and we need to hear from you. It's your property, it's taxpayer-owned, and we want your feedback. So please try to make an effort to attend here on June 30th. We perhaps will want to consider having another one. We may just not limit it to one. There probably should be 2.
We'll see what happens
Maybe
at that.
We'll see how it goes at that one.
If
Yeah.
I could piggyback on that
Yeah.
too. This is out everywhere. It's on Facebook. It's on all of the sites, on all of the local community sites. But this is the bottom line. June 30th, the public's invited to make their suggestions face to face. If you can't make it, you're on vacation, ask someone to come for you, because this is your chance to speak. There is nobody, when this thing gets built, should be able to say they didn't have a chance to say something. Very important.
Right. Thank you, Mike. Yes, it is absolutely important that you participate in this part of the build-out and revitalization of downtown. So I hope to see everybody here on June 30th at 7 p.m. We're going to spend as much time as we need with the consulting firm, Insight Engineering, and the consultants for the town will be here as well. And the town board has indicated that they're going to attend as well. So
We're going to have better air conditioning that night.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Frank, you didn't adjust it tonight.
I'm fine. Greg is complaining.
Okay.
I just made a comment. I was not complaining. It was an observation.
Okay.
coming in short
So,
tonight,
the other 2 things going on this weekend in town is the e-waste. The e-waste and shred it events. They're scheduled for this Saturday, June 12th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to be right here on Route 6 at the Geary Rink parking lot. It's the same location it was held last October. So we're going to have the e-waste is going to be, when you pull into the parking lot, it's going to be to the right. And if you have shredded documents, official documents that you'd like to dispose of and actually watch being shredded, that'll be to your left when you enter the parking lot. Everybody's going to be entering off of Croton Falls Road. So the entrance would be on the west side of Route 6, which is also Croton Falls Road. It's the entrance to the Geary Rink. We're going to be there, and this is for town residents only, and I can't stress that enough, is that you must be a town resident, and we're going to ask for you to show ID that you're a resident of the town of Carmel, to dump your discard or dispose of your e-waste and your shredded items. We have to do that because we can't allow too many people from outside the town of Carmel, or we shouldn't allow any residents from outside of the town of Carmel, because we could wind up with a very, very large pile of e-waste there, and shredded documents would fill the truck pretty quickly. So we're only asking that this is for residents of the town of Carmel. And please have ID with you to show that you are in fact a resident of the town of Carmel before you enter the parking lot. So I hope the weather looks like it's going to be nice for Saturday. It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny. So we're hoping that we're going to have a fairly large turnout. And this is your opportunity to get rid of that e-waste that's been collecting in your home, the old TVs or computers or whatever you have. You can bring them here on Saturday. The other event that we have is Sunday at the Red Mills Historic Park. That's behind the Mahopac National Bank in Mahopac Falls. We have a sock hop at the Falls event. This is for Town of Carmel presents this event, and it's going to be it's a local gentleman that has 50s, 60s, and 70s music that he has offered at no charge to the Town of Carmel residents to perform as a DJ that day. So he's going to be in the gazebo there, and it's free to Town of Carmel residents. Bring your blankets, bring your chairs, and we're really looking to have a good time there on Sunday. It's June 13th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Again at the Red Mills Historic Park. Dawn Jellica from the Red Mills Convenience Center and Red Mills Shopping Center has purchased fuzzy dice because this is a sock hop. It's oldies music, and she purchased those dice, and she's donating them to the Town of Carmel and to the residents that show up there. They'll be given those, by dawn. So we're looking for a good day there. Any questions that you have, please contact the Carmel Parks and Recreation Department at 628-78888. Again, it's Sunday, June 13th, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Red Mills Historic Park in Mopac Falls for a sock hop. And I'd like to thank Neil McMahon, the DJ, for volunteering.
That's what I was going to say. Who's the gentleman?
Yeah, Neil's donating it. Great guy. He's a veteran, and he just loves oldies music. So him and his wife are going to be there, and a lot of the people in his car club are going. We may have some vintage cars there as well. There's going to be an ice cream truck there for the whole event. So, and the weather's going to be nice again. It looks like 75 on Sunday as well. So, two good events here in the Town of Carmel this weekend, and I hope to see a lot of you there. That's all I have. Does anybody else?
Yeah, I have one announcement. Everyone knows the organization United for the Troops, which is the principals of that charity organization are residents of our town, are conducting a drive this coming Saturday from 10 until 2 at 258 Route 202. That's right past Somers Middle School and the Chicos. So we had a couple of drives here in town. The reason I'm bringing it to everyone's attention is that what they collect in this next drive is going to contribute towards their 25,000 box to be sent out. So it's really important that this community helped out when we had the drive, assisted them a few months ago. It was fantastic, and we're going to help them out after the summer with another drive. So, but let's help get that 25,000 box out.
Yeah,
All right?
definitely.
And thank you, Jim, and his family, and Patty for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, Mike, do you have anything? Good night, Grace. Okay. Bob, you have anything?
Nothing.
Okay, we do have executive session with Rich Franzetti, PE Town Engineer. This is for the Carmel Water District Number 2 Capital Plan, Carmel Wastewater Treatment Plant, Land Acquisition Update, and we have Hazen here also, our consultants on that project, and they're going to be presenting to the board the land that perhaps the town would be using for the new water treatment plant up in the town of Carmel, in the Hamlet area. So they're here for that. So I need a motion to go into executive session. We're going to be closing the meeting from executive. We're not coming back out here.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Lombardi.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Be well. We'll
Good
see you
night.
next week on the 16th for a town board voting meeting.